DreAllDay.com.
You are now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. This is the go-getter energy that moves you to make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. Putting all this together, you get the mindset, the method, the podcast known as Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. Welcome to the show. And today's topic, well, you already knew what the topic would be if you're a regular listener to the show, because in a previous episode, I told you I was going to talk about this whole idea of discipline not being something that you do. It's not something that you execute when you get around to it, or something that you choose to engage when the time calls for it. Discipline is part of your being. And you've heard me talk many times on this whole principle of being, doing, then having. You become the type of person first, then you take the actions. Because you're that type of person, then you get the results. And at the same time, every episode of this show, I open it, the first thing I talk about is the discipline. And if I had to take all of these mental game elements that go into the work on your game philosophy, and there was one most important one that I think most people need, is the discipline. Most people would say that they need the confidence. But understand the confidence comes from discipline. You become more confident the more disciplined you are, because you know what you bring to the table, because you've been bringing it to the table on a consistent basis. And today's topic is about the fact that discipline cannot be spot trained. And if any of you don't know what spot training is, I'll explain it to you very simply. I worked at several gyms. I worked at Bally Total Fitness. I worked at, LA Fitness. What other gym did I work at? I worked at another gym in Philadelphia called Philadelphia Sports Club before I had moved to Florida. And anytime that someone would come into the gym to take a look at the memberships and possibly join, we all had different processes. Each gym had a different process of how you would take a prospect, as we called them, through the gym or talk to them about the memberships. But I would always ask, one question was all in common no matter where I was working. I would ask the person why they came into the gym. What is it that brought you into this gym? And people would say something like, I want to get this fat off of the back of my arms on the triceps. Or many women would say something along the lines of, I want to tone up. I want to tone my body up, tighten my body up. A man would say something like, I just want to get stronger for playing a sport, or they just want to get bigger. They want to get a bigger chest, bigger arms. They want to get six-pack abs. The things that men usually have in common that they're looking for when they join the gym, if you ask them. But people would always point to these specific areas of their body that they wanted to work on so that they could get in shape, whatever shape they wanted to get in, for whatever reason, right? But many people would think, erroneously, that they could just show up, join the gym, I would sell them a membership, and they could use a certain machine, and I would take them around the gym floor. I always take people around the gym floor. At Philadelphia Sports Club, I usually wouldn't have them use anything. I would just show them the stuff, show them the equipment, show them the rooms and things like that. But when I worked at LA Fitness, I worked at Bally Total Fitness, which I believe is now completely out of business, I would actually put people on machines. So if a woman says she wanted to work on her hips, I would show her the abductor and the adductor machines, which nowadays we could call those the Instagram machines, if you know what I'm talking about. And I would let them use the machine so they could see that it's targeting that specific area that they wanted to work on. If somebody wanted to work on their stomach, I'd get them some kind of crunch exercise they could do, or some machine they could use. Person said they wanted to do some cardio, or they knew they needed cardio. They might not really want to do it, but they knew they needed it. I put them on a treadmill and turn the speed up just enough that it was kicking their ass for about 2 minutes, and then I bring them in the room and sell them a membership while they were still feeling the feeling of how out of shape they really were. But people often have this idea that, okay, if I want to work on my abs, all I got to do is a bunch of crunches. Or if I want nice arms, then I need to do a bunch of curls. Or if I want a nice ass, then I just need to work on the hip machine, or the glute machine, or the hamstring machine, or just do this number of squats, or whatever it happens to be. That's what we call spot training. That's when you take a certain spot in your body that you want to get better, and you focus all your exercises, all your training, everything you do is focused on targeting that specific area of the body. Here's the problem with spot training, though. It doesn't work. If we have any physical therapists or personal trainers or anyone who's in that realm that helps people work on their bodies who are listening to this, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of people walk into training facilities thinking that if they just work on this area, because that's the area that they want to work on, then everything will be good. If I do enough crunches, I'm gonna have a six pack abs, but then still have flabby arms and flabby legs and the rest of my body not in shape. You've never seen that before, have you? I mean, think about it. You ever seen somebody who had really nice arms but a flabby stomach, like a belly in their stomach, but they had these really defined, ripped arms? But you ever seen somebody who, with their shirt off, and they had six-pack stomach, but then their arms they had all this fat on the back of their arms, and there was no definition in their legs? You've never seen that before, and their chest you couldn't even really see their pectoral muscles in their chest. You've never seen that before. We've never seen a person who just had all these muscles in one particular area, but then the rest of the body just didn't match that one area that seemed to have gotten to the right level that it gets to. All right, so that is what people think they're gonna do, or at least is a general idea. I think the vague idea people have when they walk into a gym, thinking that they can spot train their way to success, I guess we can call it, in that area of the body. But understand that it doesn't work that way. If you want to flatten your stomach, you can't just do crunches and use an ab roller while ignoring your arms and your legs. It all works in unison, and it's the same thing with your discipline. To get to your best in any one area of your life, all the other areas of your life, they need attention as well. Now, this doesn't mean that you're going to be incredible in every area of your life, but it does mean that those areas need your attention. So what we're going to talk about today is how, even though, or if you have a specific area of focus in your life, and we also have some specific areas of focus in our lives, because we can only focus on one thing at a time. And if you dissipate that focus by trying to spread it too thin, then you'll have a whole bunch of shallow mines that you've dug, but you won't get deep enough in any area to create any real or lasting change that you want to create, or any real lasting results or success, or whatever word you like to use that would define the outcomes that you're trying to produce. So we need to apply our disciplines in everything that we're doing. Again, not to say that we're going to be amazing in everything, but the same disciplines that work in one area can work in another area, and we need them to. It's not just that they can, is that we need them to, because if we don't, then we're going to be that person who's just doing a bunch of crunches trying to get our abs right, but we're not paying attention to our legs or our cardiovascular or our arms. So let's get right into it. Point number one. Today's topic, once again, is discipline cannot be spot trained. Definition of a professional is a person who shows up and gets the job done every single time. Now, this is something that we've given whole episodes to this very subject, being a professional. And the thing about being a professional is, ladies and gentlemen, that if you don't show up and get it done, whatever it is, if you don't get it done every time, then you ain't a professional. That's just the bottom line. If you want people to call you a professional, if you want to be respected as a professional, and you want to be compensated like a professional, that means you need to deliver every single time. Every time you're on the job needs to get done. That's what makes a pro a pro. And if you're doing that, then the respect and the compensation that comes with being a professional, that will find you. You won't have to go out and scream from the rooftops about it, because people will be seeing it. People will experience it, like, wow, this person delivers every single time. You're not doing it every time, then you're not quite a professional yet. It just means you got more work to do. It just means that work may be physical or maybe mental, maybe a combination of both. But it's the exact same thing with discipline. Discipline is not something that you pull out of your gym bag and use, and then you put it back in the closet when you're done with it. Discipline is who you are as a person, which means it must be applied on a consistent basis, which leads to point number two. It means something else. Today's topic, once again, is discipline cannot be spot trained. Understanding the principles of discipline are self-evident. In other words, look at the areas of your life in which you are getting the kind of results that you want. Because all of us have certain areas of our lives where we know it's an area that is an area of improvement, somewhere that we could be doing a whole lot better, whether we're trying to or we're just completely ignoring it, or it's an area where, and we also have areas where things are going pretty well. We're like, you know what, we're getting the kind of results that we want in this area. I'm maintaining in this area and it's going pretty good. I want to keep it this way, or maybe possibly make it a little bit better. So look at those areas in which things are going pretty well for you, or where people admire you, or where someone will come to you for help if they wanted to get good in that area. And ask yourself this question: how often are you looking at that area? How much time are you giving to that specific part of your life? How much are you paying attention to the details in that area? How often are you allowing yourself or anyone else to cut corners in that specific part of your life? Those answers are easy for you to answer, right? Those questions, rather, are easy for you to answer, are they not? Now, once you look in an area of your life that needs work, and before I even tell you what to do with that area, let's go back over those questions. I want you to think of that area that is working pretty well for you. If you feel like you're doing pretty good financially with the money that you're making, ask yourself this question. How often are you looking at your money? How much time do you give to examining, all right, here's where it's coming from, here's where it's going, here are the next steps, here are some adjustments that need to be made. How much are you paying attention to detail, knowing where every receipt is, where every dollar goes? If it's something is off by $2, you notice it. How often are you allowing yourself to cut corners there? It's easy for you to answer those questions. Any of you who's in good shape, how often are you working out? How often do you go to the gym? How often are you outside running, or going to your boot camp class, or meeting with your trainer, or whatever it is you do to get you in great shape? How much time do you give to making sure your body's where it needs to be? How close do you pay attention to detail? How often do you allow yourself to cut corners? It's easy to answer these questions about anything that you're doing well, because you're paying attention to it all the time. You give it time, you dedicate your time to it, the most valuable resource you have. You pay attention to detail, you know exactly what's going on, how and why. And if you don't know why, you don't do anything else until you figure it out. And you don't allow yourself to cut corners. That's how you got good at it in the first place. And it's easy for you to really answer those questions. Now, when you look at any area of your life that you know needs work, but the work hasn't been being done, all you had to do is apply the exact same principles from the area that's working to the area that's not working. Guaranteed it'll make things better. Now, it may not make things amazing. You may not become spectacular in this area that is a place for improvement, but things will be much better. And the reason why is because disciplines produce results. That's just the bottom line of it. If you want results in your life, you don't need a super level of talent. You don't need the best possible process that exists. You don't need a ton more of information. I'm sure you got plenty of that already. The most important thing you need are a few simple disciplines. When you're able to apply a few simple disciplines to any area of your life, you are going to produce results. Whether you're doing well in that area already, whether you're just doing okay, whether that area doesn't even exist because you've never done anything there, if you apply a few simple disciplines, the results will come. And there's an added bonus. Yes, there is more. Let me tell you what that is. That brings us into point number 3. Today's topic is that discipline cannot be spot trained. And number 3 is, the better that you handle those side things in your life, meaning the stuff in your life that is maybe you're not so excited about, but is something that you know needs to be addressed. So if you're a person who loves to work out and taking care of your body is the thing that you do, and playing sports is your thing, so you don't really pay that much attention to your relationships or what's going on with your family or how much you're taking care of your money or anything that doesn't have anything to do with sports, that's not directly related to it. The more you take care of those side things, even though they're not directly related to your main focus, the better you'll do in the main thing. Taking care of the side stuff supports and makes better how you do in the main stuff. For example, if you're a great business person who, quote, doesn't have time, close quote, to take care of your body, understand that the better you start applying those same disciplines that made you good in business, apply those same disciplines to your body, the better you'll do in business. You'll be healthier, you'll have more energy, you'll have a better attitude. People will respond to you better, and you'll close more deals for more money. On the flip side, if let's say you're an artist or creator, and you've never cared much or had a strong grip over your business or money-making side of your life, if you took those same creative disciplines that made you an artist or made you a creator that you love about it, and you applied those to your business, you would make more money. And what would that do? That would free you to do more art and better art, because your mind would be more open to doing what you need to do, and you're not focusing on where's the next dollar coming from, how I'm going to pay these bills, how I'm going to take care of this rent, or any of that, because you freed your mind up from the little bit of energy that it has to devote to those side things that haven't been being taken care of. Here's how the human mind works, people. And for those of you who have never heard me say this, understand the mind is the strongest tool that we have, or stronger than any rocket ship that NASA can put together, is stronger than any Tesla electrical powered vehicles, stronger than any smartphone that anyone can put together, any Pentium chip that goes into a laptop computer. It is the most valuable tool we have, is the most potent tool we have, and is the most dangerous if we don't use it properly. The way that the human mind works is that it notices everything. It's not forgetting anything. It may not be consciously available to you, but it doesn't forget. Has any of you ever saw somebody and you're like, I know who that person is. I've seen them somewhere before, but I can't remember where. I can't remember their name. It's not that you completely forgot. Consciously is not available to you, but in your unconscious, in your subconscious, that name is available. That face is available, and where you know them from is available. You may think of it while you're standing there looking at them. You may not think of it till 3 days later, but it's there. So because you got so much stuff in your mind and on your mind that you might have to dig deep to kind of find it. You got to go deep into the vault to find that information, but it's there. I'm telling you that to tell you this: whatever your main thing is, if you're putting all your focus into that and not paying any attention to the side things, the little bit of energy and attention that your mind needs to give to those side things, because not like they don't exist, it's just that you're not paying attention to them. But a little bit of energy and attention has to give to those is weakening your ability to focus on the main thing. I'll give you a real life example that'll make this, hopefully drive this home for you even a little bit better. I remember when I met my trainer Maria. This was around about 10 years ago, around 2009. I was in a gym in South Beach, Miami, and I had taken a Pilates class for the first time. And I was thinking a Pilates class was going to be something, quote unquote, for girls, a little bit too easy. The instructor wouldn't be hard enough on me. It'd be like basically like a step aerobics class. I'm like, all right, this is going to be a waste of time, but let me just do it, because I had joined this gym, and this gym costs more money than your average gym. So I said, let me try out what they have going on in this gym. And since I'm paying for it, I better at least see what they got. So I had taken a yoga class, and I was a little bit more familiar with yoga. Then I took this Pilates class. Now, the first time I took this Pilates class, it was actually so challenging that I'm like, damn, I'm going to take this class again. It was hard. There were things being done in that class that I could not do. And there were probably about 25 people in the class, maybe 2 or 3 men, and the instructor was a female. But all the females in the room were doing the stuff, and a lot of it I couldn't do. So I'm looking to my left and to my right, and I'm like, damn, these women is doing stuff that I can't do. And a lot of it was coming from the core. So I'm thinking, all right, I got 8-pack abs. I look good with no shirt off. I run on the beach. I can do. How am I not able to do this stuff? But these women are doing these things, and the instructor, she's talking and doing the stuff at the exact same time. It was very impressive. So I took the class again. I found out, I went and looked at the schedule. I saw the name of the instructor. So then I just looked and said, all right, when's the next time this same instructor is giving another Pilates class? Because I didn't want to do a different instructor. I want the same person. So I took her class again. And after the class, I went and spoke to her because she had mentioned that she had worked with athletes before. I introduced myself to her. We started talking, and the rest became history. But anyway, when we started working out, I would tell her over time how I was starting to feel some what would I call it? Some worry areas in my body, in my joints, such as in my ankles or in my knees or in my back. And I explained to her, listen, I go to the gym every day. I mean, I met her in the gym. I would be in the gym for an hour or more every single day doing this stuff. I'll be doing the sprints, I'll be doing the cardio, I'm jumping rope, I'm lifting weights, I'm working upper body, lower body, I'm doing my splits. I had all this stuff that I was doing in the gym all the time. And what she explained to me very simply was that, Dre, the reason why your body is starting to break down the way that it is at this time, I'm in my late 20s at this point. So I had a lot of years on my body, but still plenty of years to go. She said the reason your body's starting to break down is because when you're doing these lifts, because I told her the kind of lifts that I was doing. I said I might use a rowing machine. I might do some pull downs. I would do some pull-ups. I'm doing bench press. I'm doing these curls. I'm doing this twist for my abdominal muscles. I'm doing this stuff for my shoulders. I told her about all the exercises that I was doing. She said the reason why your body's starting to break down is because all you're focusing on in your workouts are the large muscle groups, such as your quads or your pecs or your abs or your biceps, your triceps, your shoulders. You need to focus on, we need to do some training, what she explained to me, that focuses on the small muscles that support those big muscles. The breakdowns that you're starting to feel in your body are not any problems with the big muscles, because you work them pretty well. They're strong as hell because you're always working out. The problem is the small muscles that support them have never gotten any attention from you. And that's why your knees are starting to bother you. That's why your back is starting to bother you. That's why you look great as far as your physical shape. I mean, somebody just looked at me, they would say, damn, this guy's an athlete. Damn, this guy goes to the gym every day. And may be 100% right, but my body wasn't feeling as great as it was looking. She said, because the little things that people can't see, that you can't see, that you didn't even know about, you haven't been paying any attention to those. So those are the things we need to start working on. So the whole time that I was working with Maria, we weren't doing deadlifts and squats and bench presses for two reasons. Number one, I could do those on my own. I didn't need a trainer to show me how to do that stuff. I knew how to do that. It was the little muscles that we worked on that I would never have thought to work on my own that made my body a whole lot stronger, made my muscles last a whole lot longer, made me a whole lot more durable, made me quicker, faster, had more endurance, more cardiovascular strength, and it definitely extended my career much longer than it would have gone had I never met that trainer, the person who had the specialized knowledge to show me that those little things that I had been neglecting. Actually, I wasn't even, you could say I was neglecting them out of just pure ignorance because I had no idea. But a lot of times what we do in life, we're out of the story that I'm telling you now, a lot of times what we do in life is we neglect things not out of ignorance, because ignorance is just not knowing. I had no idea about the stuff Maria told me about when we started doing it. But we know, in our lives, we know what we're ignoring and we ignore it anyway. Now that's a problem. And there's only so long we can ignore it before it starts making so much noise that we gotta pay attention to it. When it comes to our fitness, having to pay attention to something could be in the form of a heart attack or some kind of disease or sickness that we never saw coming, that we say to ourselves, wait, I'm only fill in the blank years old. How is this happening to me? Any of you ever had that? Any of you ever said that statement? Or had anyone around you who said that statement or said it about somebody you know? You're like, wait, they're only blank years old. How are they getting fill in the blank, whatever it happened to be? If we're not taking care of our money, it's a financial crisis we run into. We're like, damn, I hadn't been paying any attention to this. I better pay attention to it right now because I got a problem. Then as soon as we get over the problem, do you go right back to not paying attention to it, or do you decide, let me do some different things? That's the discipline right there. See, spot training is you take care of it when it becomes an emergency, and then you go right back to doing the same stuff you were doing before. In implementing the discipline is, as soon as you see that there's an emergency, you decide, I'm gonna do some things differently right now. I heard Jim Rohn say in one of his tapes, and Jim Rohn is a legendary, I guess you'd call him motivational speaker, but he's one of the forefathers of this whole philosophy of what we call personal development. He was actually a mentor to a guy by the name of Tony Robbins, so I'm sure everybody's heard of. But Jim Rohn gave this example of how this guy has a heart attack. And he goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, listen, even though you're relatively young, if you have another one of these, you're not gonna survive. You have another heart attack, you're gonna die. And the man, after hearing that from the doctor, what does he do? Because he had been neglecting his health, smoking, drinking, eating whatever. What does he do as soon as he leaves the doctor's office? He drives to the health food store, and he buys all the healthy stuff. He throws out all the garbage. He cuts out the smoking and the drinking, and he changes his life cold turkey right there on the spot as far as the way he takes care of his health. He didn't need to do it gradually. He didn't need to ease into it. It was no, I can't help it. None of that. Why? Because it was an emergency. And then all of a sudden, he was able to start implementing that discipline. Because if he didn't, then listen, he wouldn't have any more emergencies to worry about, because he wouldn't be here to have one. So I'm telling you all of that to tell you, as we recap today's topic, discipline cannot be spot trained. If you're going to be disciplined, you need to start applying that stuff to everything that you're doing. And there may be some disciplines that you're not even aware that you're not applying, right? But that's why you use other people. Use the knowledge of somebody else. Right now, you're using the knowledge of the person who's speaking to you. When you read a book, you're using that person's knowledge. You take an online course, you're using their knowledge. You take a class, you're using that person's knowledge. When you listen to another person talk who knows something that you don't know, or shares an idea that you never thought of, you are utilizing that person's knowledge. So that's why you got to keep your eyes and ears open, because you never know where that information may be coming from. But you can better your odds by looking for the person who you know has the information and just asking them directly, so you don't have to go searching the world hoping to find the right information. It will be right there in front of you because you asked for it of a person who you know had it. So let's recap. Today's topic was: discipline cannot be spot trained. Point number one, a professional is a person who shows up every single time and gets the job done. If you don't do it every time, then you cannot be called a professional and you will not be treated as a professional. It's the exact same thing with discipline. Discipline is not something that you pull out of your gym bag, then you use it, and then you put it back in the closet. Discipline is who you are as a person, which means you're applying it consistently, which means, point number two, the principles are self-evident. Look at the areas in which you are getting results and you have been getting results for a long time. How often do you look at those areas and pay attention to them? How much time do you give them? How much are you paying attention to detail in those areas? How often do you allow yourself or anyone else to cut corners in those areas? All those answers come very easily to you. You laugh as you're answering the questions because you don't even have to think about it. Now look at an area of your life that needs some work. Are you applying those same principles? I guarantee you that you're not applying any of them, because if you were, then that area wouldn't need work. Not to say that it's perfect, but it wouldn't be an area that you would identify as it needs work. An area that needs work, take the same principles from the area that's working for you and apply them there. Now that's not so easy, because if it was easy, you'd be doing it already, but that's why discipline is discipline. And if you need some help with that, take my 30 Days of Discipline course and read my book, The Mirror of Motivation. Both you can get at dreallday.com/products with an S on it. And point number 3, the better you handle the side things in life, the supporting things, and we all have different supporting things because we all have different focuses because we're all different people. The other stuff in your life that you may not be so excited about, those side things, the better you'll do with the main things. As the example that I gave you, I was taking care of the big muscle groups in my body. I was lifting weights, working out, running every single day. And if you saw me, you're like, damn, this dude works out every day, obviously. And I was working out every day. It wasn't a lie, it wasn't the front. The problem was I was starting to feel weaker despite the fact that I was working out every day and supposedly getting stronger. The problem wasn't because I wasn't taking enough time off or I was doing anything wrong. It was that I had no idea that there were other smaller muscle groups that supported the big muscle groups that needed to be worked on as well. And I would never have figured that out on my own. But I met somebody who had the knowledge, who had the information that could diagnose my problem as soon as I explained it to her. And that changed everything for me. It prolonged my career, made me bigger, stronger, faster, have more endurance, made me a better player. And as I said, the rest is history. So maybe you're not aware of what you're neglecting right now, but often we are 100% aware of what we're neglecting because we're just choosing not to address that thing either out of fear, out of sloth, laziness, because we just don't feel like we're going to get any results from it. But understand, if you wait for the emergency to come, listen, you may not survive that emergency. So you at best apply some discipline and get on it, whether that means having somebody else help you and tell you whatever you need to hear straight to your face because you're not willing to tell it to yourself, or you being willing to tell it to yourself and handling that situation before the situation handles you. Now what's going on in the game group? In the game group, the name of the game is the discipline that creates the strategies that produces the results. If there's only 3 things you remember about it, just remember that: disciplines, strategies, into results. And we know that discipline is not for everybody. Most people don't go running towards discipline. Most people don't go looking for discipline, but that's why I made it the game group the way that I made it, because it ain't for everybody. It's for the people who are really serious about putting the right tools in place, whether that be your actions, whether that be your mindsets, whether that be the outcomes that you're going after, or even if you know what those are, in order to create the strategies that are going to actually lead to the results. Now, the strategies I'm going to help you with, the disciplines I'm going to help you with, and you're going to produce the results because you had the disciplines and the strategies in place. And we give you help with, whether you're an athlete, you're a business person, you're an entrepreneur, business professional, your personal development, and everybody's in the business world, whether you're an athlete or not. And creating those results, creating those outcomes as you need them, as you want them at all times. That's at the game group, which is at dreallday.com/game group. Work on your game, dreallday.com.